All right, so I'm back here again with Mick Coop, and we've decided to do some regular or have some regular conversations on all things combative, self-defense, martial arts, whatever you want to call it, fighting. And what we've decided to do is shorten it to about 30 minutes or less, for a very good reason. Number one, people really don't tend to tune into, our 2.5 hour conversation. It just seems to be people want to have their attention captured in the first three minutes, and that's it. So we want to shorten it for that reason. But the second sort of reason is that's generally what we want to talk about, is the dumbing down of the industry, how things have been dumbed down to the extent that people don't want that depth of knowledge. People don't want that high level of understanding. They just want a show or a performance as such. And so that's one of the things we're going to talk about today. So I'll pass it over to Mick to get the ball rolling. I'm sure you have plenty to say on this.
Well, yeah, yeah. As you just said there, I think social media is probably a lot to blame for this because it is so convenient, and you've got that thing in your pocket that you can just stare at all day, like we all do. I mean, you try and sit in a Starbucks these days and not look at your phone, and they're gonna call the police because they think they've got some sort of fucking serial killer in there. You
Yeah.
know, if you just sit there enjoying the coffee, that's no, 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 no. It's
He's up
it's
to no
such
good.
a yeah, exactly. It's such a common thing, and I remember back in the day of the internet forums, for instance, and I was very active on a lot of forums way before social media kind of exploded, and I thought they were an excellent grounds for sharing ideas and having conversations, having arguments, big debates, things like that, because the format lent itself to that. Social media, though, became so convenient. I gotta admit, even I moved across to it because it was just easier just to go on Facebook. The
Yeah.
format isn't as good, I don't think, because it doesn't archive things the same way. But convenience, it's kind of, it's insidious, isn't it? We all want convenience. We all want a course that fits into a day or a weekend.
Yeah.
If it's 3 days, forget about it. Can't do it. You know,
Yeah.
if it's a course that involves, I don't know, real work, really,
Yeah. Hard
if
work.
it's, yeah, if do I get a certificate from it? Do I get a qualification from it?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a
We all
common
want
one.
that. Everybody wants the convenience, and we all struggle against that. I mean, I struggle against that because I've got that my foundation course that you attended, and it's 4 days, and it's
Yeah.
4 hard days. It's 4 8-hour days, and it's not an instructor course. So guys will do it purely because you want to get good at something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it doesn't tick the box of a certificate hunter, if you know what I mean, where you
No,
just want to
that's
get the
it.
qualifications as quick as you can.
Yeah.
And you got to take time off work to do it. You can't just fit it into a weekend.
Yeah.
And I've wrestled with this so many times that shall I make it into a weekend courses, like maybe two or three of them put together? But then you lose it. And when you did the course, I mean, the part of it is the immersion of it, isn't it? And those 4 days
Yeah.
build onto it. The day two builds on day one, day three, and I've wrestled with it. Can I get it into a weekend? And I just can't. There's too much
Yeah.
information.
Yeah.
I could, but it wouldn't be the same course. That's the
No.
thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And it would be more successful financially for me,
Oh,
and
100%.
it would
Yeah.
probably build my following far better because more people would attend it, and I could make it, like the cult courses that people go on 15 times a year.
Yeah.
Well, I don't class success as being that.
No.
Success to me is, as an instructor, how much information has been imparted to the other person. That's
Yeah.
success.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not in it, even though I should be, from a retail perspective. You know,
Yeah.
I've talked about it before with other guys. It's you've got a retail model, which is the customer is always right. Give the customer whatever they want, which
Yeah.
was all came from a guy called Harry Selfridge, who started a very big shop in England a long time ago. A big department store, and even that's been corrupted because the customer obviously isn't always right. And what he actually meant there was that as far as what they want is concerned, they're right. If they want something, we'll find it, because who
Yeah.
am I to tell you that you shouldn't wear that hat? It works like that for fashion and things like this. But where it goes wrong is you can't put that into an educational model
No.
because the student isn't always right. But that's what
Yeah.
people do. Like
Yeah.
a degree is what, 3 years, 4 years for a degree,
Yep.
the average
Yeah.
degree. You can't just go along and say, I don't want to do 3 years. Can we make it 1 year?
Yeah, 2 weeks. Give me
And
2 weeks. Yeah.
2 weeks. And can I get the same qualification, please? You know? And any educational establishment is going to say, well, no, it's not possible. But there'll be somebody out there, some, university of buttfuck wherever online that might do that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then what do they get? They get a massive influx of people who want that 2 week degree course.
Yeah.
But what would happen is, what's it worth,
That's
really?
it. Yeah.
You
Because that's
know?
what I've always said, like with whether it be fitness training or this, there's what people want and what people should be doing, and the two rarely meet up. Like they're
Oh,
more on this end,
yeah, yeah.
and it's
I
disappointing. It's yeah.
it is. I mean, don't forget, this is our opinion,
Yeah, true.
so everybody's entitled to their opinion. It's fine. But and we can agree to disagree on things. I'll agree to disagree on anything, but I won't agree to disagree that 2 + 2 doesn't equal 4.
Hmm.
If you say equals
Yeah, yeah,
5, I will always disagree with that.
yeah,
So when it comes to hard facts, things like that, objectivity rules.
yeah,
When you're talking about art and what people like, be as subjective as you want, but you
yeah.
can't you can't apply that to the hard sciences, can you?
Nah.
But I think the retail model is quite insidious for us. And not only have we got customers now, we've got clicks, we've got likes, we've got
Yeah.
follows, and you can't deny how financially motivating that can be for some people, because people make a lot of money, don't they,
Oh yeah,
out
yeah,
of
yeah,
standing in front of a camera like this and talking and doing stuff, and watching kids take toys out of packages can earn you tens of thousands of dollars a
yeah.
month.
It's
you
crazy.
know
Yeah,
Absolutely crazy. So there's a big financial incentive to get all those followers. So I don't blame people for doing that, to be honest. But
yeah,
just don't tell me that it's real training. That's the thing.
yeah,
I'll always fight you on that. That retail model, you know keep it for selling secondhand cars off a lot.
yeah,
Educational model is, look, if you come to me, you've probably accepted that I've got information that you don't have, that you want.
yeah,
So how can you also then say, but I want you to teach me this?
yeah,
Because I could answer and say, well, the very premise that you've selected me as an instructor means you've acknowledged that I might have something that you don't know.
yeah.
So how are you now telling me what to
What I,
teach?
yeah, yeah,
It doesn't work. It's a catch-22 situation, I think, to a
yeah.
degree, isn't it?
And that's where our industry is behind combat sports is that, the ambiguity that we can have or that,
Yeah,
instructors have, there's no real testing for it. Whereas at
exactly that.
least, combat sports, you
Exactly
go in
that.
half-assed doing one
Any
of these
sport.
2 week courses,
Yeah.
you get your head
Any
taken
sport,
off.
though.
Yeah,
Any sport. You try and boast that you can throw a javelin 500 meters.
yeah,
Somebody will hand you a javelin and say, show me,
yeah,
you know?
yeah, yeah,
But you can boast that you've got the best system for fighting, 10 guys armed with chainsaws, blah, blah, blah. Because you're never going to get in that situation.
yeah.
You,
You can
you know,
say what
you've
you
you've
want.
got an easy out, haven't you? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
100%.
I mean, knife defense is the big one, isn't it? I mean, if you've had a knife pulled on you one time, compared to most people, you're massively experienced in that
Yeah,
in that
yeah,
landscape.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
it's still
yeah,
a tiny sample size, isn't it? To be
yeah.
quite honest. So a lot of the knife defense stuff really is best guess, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
best guesswork.
Oh,
We can
100%.
try and simulate situations, and my testing is particularly robust, to the point where a lot of people are very disappointed, which is what they should be,
Yeah,
in that, oh, the stuff didn't work. I says, yeah, you've been done it for a day,
yeah,
and we've thrown
yeah,
you in at the deep end. I think it would be very suspicious if everything did work after only one day, or half a day, really, if you think about the hours involved. I think it'd be very suspicious if you were all of a sudden dealing with the hardest context of attack known, a man up
no,
close with a knife trying to
yeah,
kill you. If you could deal with that after just half a day of training competently, I think that would be suspicious, personally.
yeah, yeah.
In
Oh,
the
for
same
sure.
way that after half a day of boxing training, would you get in the ring with a pro boxer
Yeah,
and last
no,
more than the first punch?
exactly. Yeah,
I think, that's what we've got to think about. That managing expectations, isn't it? Is a big
yeah,
thing. Whereas again, back to the retail model, is whatever their expectation is, we don't manage it, we pander to it.
Yeah.
What do you want from this? And when you see things that are, you got a course that's what, 5 hours long, but covers 10 subjects, and some of them are big subjects as well. I see it written down sometimes and say, like, part of the subject list will be striking, grappling, knife defense, situational awareness. And it's like all on the same day.
In 5
All right.
hours.
Yeah, all right. Those are big subjects,
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
come on. I mean, if you think about it, how long does it take you to learn to drive a car? Which is
Yeah.
a relatively simple
Hours. Yeah.
proposition. Yeah, it's a fairly simple proposition. You've got a pedal that makes you go faster, a pedal that makes you go slower. You've got an aiming device, and
Yeah.
how hard can that be? Let's talk about automatic cars, so there's no gear changes. It's
Yeah.
still going to take you longer than a day to learn to drive competently. So why would and you've got a machine doing it all for you as well. When you are the machine and you've got to produce the kicks and the punches yourself and things like that, why do people think in one day you're going to get good? You couldn't learn to
Yeah.
drive a car in one day. You can't learn any kind of real physical skill in a day,
Yeah. No.
let alone several of them, unless that's the client expectation and you've got people who are weak enough to pander to it and go,
Yeah.
okay. I had a long time ago from, was it a US corrections guy asked me, could you design a system for controlling and restraining violent prisoners? I was like, yeah, of course I could. That's what I do. And I said, like, but what are the limiting factors to that? What's the criteria? And he said, well, it can't be any impactive techniques. You can't be hitting them. Okay, I got you. I understand that. I can get with that. Unless obviously you're under attack, and then there's no rule anywhere that overrules the law of self-defense, is there? That
No. No.
it might not be part of my duties, but the law of self-defense as a human being, I can do whatever I need to do in a self-defense situation. Anyway, back to the restraining. We can't use any stressing of joints and things like that. Okay, got you. And you can't use any chemical or electrical means, or no taser, no gas, no spray. Okay, no mechanical restraints either. So no cuffs. I was like
Yeah.
thinking, oh, really? So I think I had to say to this guy two things. Are you willing to increase your manpower by about 500% so we can just swarm these people? And they was like, well, no, we can't do that budget wise. I says, okay. The other one then is, can we use magic? And he was kind of like, what? And I says, because
That's
what have
all
you
it's
left
going to
me with?
work.
What have you
Yeah.
left? But you know what? I guarantee somebody fit that criteria for him. I bet somebody created a system for
Oh,
that guy.
100%. Yeah.
Guaranteed. And then demonstrated it with all their students, put on a nice show, and that got adopted. And that's what all the guys on the front line had to learn, which they never did because they had to do it the real way.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're going to make an omelette, got to break some eggs.
That's
There
it.
is just no way around that. And
Yeah.
what we need is enough people to start saying no, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
You need people to say no, can't be done.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it'll never happen.
Yeah, same to students. You got
Mm.
to say no to them. After every Jason Bourne movie, there's an influx of people wanting to learn how to fight cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And at some point you've got to say you can't do it that way. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
But there will always somebody there that says, yeah, we can.
Yeah.
We can. You know,
Yeah.
my knife management course. Are you going to be rolling around on the floor, getting stabbed and thumped? Yes, you
Bruised.
are.
And yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to happen. Because the testing is very robust. Like
Yeah.
on my foundation course, are you going to be fighting somebody full out? Yes, you are. Full contact. Absolutely, you are.
Yeah.
That's you can't get around that.
Yeah.
You really can't. It's particularly robust, and people might say, "Well, is there a way of doing it without that?" And I would say, realistically, no. But I'm sure somebody will find out a way.
Yeah.
I'm sure somebody will offer you an alternative that's a lot more palatable if you're not willing to accept reality.
Yeah.
In the same way that if you're not willing to do a 4-year university degree, I'm pretty sure there's some online university somewhere will give you what's on paper says to be the same qualification, but isn't, is it? You
No.
know, somebody will do what Harry Selfridge says and say the customer is always right and the customer can have anything he wants, you
Yeah.
know, because somebody will always adopt a retail model in an educational field, always.
Yeah.
And I don't agree with it.
No.
You know, in the same way that I don't agree with, I'd say I don't agree with it. I don't follow it myself. The teaching via videos and DVDs. I just don't think it's a good medium.
Yeah.
You know, I think they're
It,
interesting, but I think their actual training value is minimal, personally.
yeah. Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah. You have to be in there in the gym with them or whatever it is. And like
Yeah.
you were saying before, you've got to be able to see the way they're moving, where, foot
Well,
placement, all those kinds of things. And if you can't see all that, forget it. Yeah.
people
No
will
chance.
I get the regular basis emails, do you have DVDs, etc. That's one I get. Another one I get is, to justify that, I live in Timbuktu, so I can't attend any courses. So is there an online system and things like this?
Yeah.
And the answer is, well, no. It says, well, there is a distance learning program, and it's called you travel to me, and then we train, or you host me and I travel to you. But there is no online version of that. In the
Yeah.
same way that you can't learn to drive again, back to learn how to drive a car. Can you buy DVDs that'll teach you how to drive a car that are worth having? I'm
Yeah.
sure you probably can buy a DVD to teach. The DVDs are good for teaching the theory of it and stuff like that. That's what books are for, you
Yeah.
know. But technically speaking, no, you can't. It's a practical subject. How do you learn a practical subject in an online fashion? You can't.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
No. And you
I
see
don't think so.
the videos that people submit for those groups that do, online learning and things. Then you see the videos they submit in for the approval of the group or whatever, and they just look like just such a poor imitation. It's like you've got a 1970s photocopy machine and photocopied it, and you've got this shit copy, which is nowhere near the real
Yeah.
McCoy. Yeah.
I think one thing to think about there is, me fixing my house up, and I'm posed with a problem. I've got to change the taps on my sink in the kitchen. You know what? I will go on YouTube there and I will look at videos for that and things like that. But the difference between that is that's a fixed scenario. It's a human to machine interface
Yeah.
where the machine doesn't change.
Yeah.
You
It's
know what I mean?
predictable.
It's predictable. You know what I mean? That screw is going to go around that way no matter what. You know, as soon as there's a human to human interface where everything I do depends on everything that you do, and everything that you do depends on everything that I do, how do we capture that on a DVD
Yeah.
without that being a 100 DVD box set for one punch
Yeah.
when you're capturing every possible. I just think it's that way. I think it works for things like, again, me fixing my sink. I will look for inspiration from YouTube. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But to learn how to throw to fight, which is so different, so different. Human
Yeah.
human is a lot different to human machine. A
Yeah.
lot different. You know,
Yeah.
but even human machine, and when it starts to become like driving, is a lot more than just turning the wheel and pressing the pedal, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the interaction and the reading of the road and the roadcraft and all that sort of stuff. That's what you can't get on a video. You've got
No.
to be behind the wheel. You've got to be behind the wheel. You know,
Yeah.
even when you start talking about simulators, you're still physically doing the thing. You can't just do it watching. I'm not a fan. I'm
Yeah.
not a fan. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do
Yeah.
think that people tend to do buy these box sets of DVDs and then by some assumption think that they've now got the system.
Mm.
In the same way that I've got about 100 books behind me that I haven't read. You
Yeah. Yeah.
I still haven't read those books. Doesn't matter what books I've got. If I haven't read it, I don't know what's in it. You know
Yeah.
what I
That's
mean?
it.
So just having it is not the same as having read it,
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. It's yeah, unfortunately it's the way the industry is. And yeah, there's just so many issues with it that we could speak about. But yeah, the other one is the like we touched on it before, the cult of personality and how, people, I think I said it before, people pay for the sizzle and not the steak. Just they want the show, they want that personality without looking at I
Yeah.
think you said people are like academically lazy. or research lazy.
Oh yeah,
They don't want to put
yeah.
the time and effort in. They just what looks better. And you were saying about the videos too. If the video looks good and the background and all that sort of the sounds quality's
Intellectually
there.
lazy.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, intellectually lazy is a term I like to use because I don't like to call people stupid because
yeah,
if we haven't done an IQ test with them, how do we know? You know what I
yeah,
mean? But
yeah,
just based on the fact that they're not doing a lot of thinking, well, proves that they're not doing a lot of thinking.
yeah,
So I prefer to use that term, that they're
yeah,
intellectually lazy. They haven't thought about it to be too much. And I always go back to that the Feynman, Richard Feynman, brain the size of a planet,
yeah,
physicist. Um, the problem solving algorithm he has, the famous, which it's very glib, but it's basically, you think about the problem really hard. You write, you look at what the problem really is, you think about it really hard, and then you write down the answer. And what people do is they jump straight to the last one. They just go straight in with the answer. They haven't really thought about the problem. They haven't really identified the problem to start with.
yeah,
They haven't thought about it, and they've just gone straight in with what they think an answer is.
yeah,
And he
yeah,
did it on purpose to kind of highlight that. You know, certainly not saying I'm anywhere near as intelligent as Feynman, but at least I like to kind of follow his lead a little bit.
yeah, yeah.
But I mean, when we're talking about people like the sizzle or not the steak, technically speaking, this conversation we're having right now, do we need video for it? We
No.
don't. But everybody wants the video now, don't they? And they'll
Mm.
complain that what we're talking about, they'll complain that the video quality is not good enough.
Yeah,
There'll be comments somewhere, or video quality was. It's like, well, what? I get that on some of my DVD, some of my not DVD, my YouTube clips that I have. That the audio quality is not great, or the video quality is not great, and it's like, why is that the most important thing?
yeah.
Really,
They're missing the point.
really,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Isn't it that?
The
Isn't the
content.
information? It's yeah. So I think the COVID lockdowns created a massive market for Zoom meetings.
Yeah,
All the time now, I'm having meetings with people, or I'm having phone calls with people, and they'll say, "Okay, I'll set up a Zoom for you." And I says, "What? Why? Why do you want to Zoom me?
yeah,
Why can't we just have a conversation on the telephone? Are you going to
yeah,
show me something? Are
yeah,
you gonna, is there a document you want to share with me or something like that? Because I'd rather do it like lying on my sofa, rather than I've got to sit in front of my computer and front, all this sort of stuff. Sometimes, yeah.
yeah,
If it's important, it's important to see something. But if it's not, why? Because we've all been conditioned now that we want the sizzle.
yeah.
We
That's
want
it.
the show.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Whereas it's in reverse. It should be content driven as opposed to
I think so.
yeah,
Again,
yeah,
back to the educational model, isn't it? You
yeah,
know, it should be all about what you're getting from that course rather than, what you're wanting and how you're expecting to get it and all that sort of stuff. Like when
yeah,
the whole learning styles type stuff, which is,
yeah,
it's you have to pander to anybody's whim now. I prefer things in a certain font, in bold highlight on certain color paper,
yeah,
and you're supposed to pander to that now and give that person what he wants because they're a visual learner or something like that.
yeah,
Come on,
yeah.
come on. I
Yeah,
mean,
that
people are
was
still
yeah.
if
I
people are
sat
still
through so
following
much of
that,
that.
yeah, if people are still
Yes.
following the learning style stuff, then
Yeah.
it just goes to show a lot of what kind of research they're really doing.
Yeah.
You
As
know,
a school teacher, we had to sit through the Gardner's multiple theories of learning and the seven hats and all that shit. And you got 30 people sitting there. Like,
and
yeah,
the
it's
real
crazy.
research is it makes no difference whatsoever when they've
Yeah.
actually done tests on learning styles. That it
And
doesn't
not
matter.
yeah. And not to
People learn the
mention,
same no matter what.
yeah, the workload of those poor teachers that I used to work, I was PE, so it's a bit easier. But the workload of those poor teachers to have to illustrate that they were catering to all learning styles is just insane. And no wonder, like if anyone wants to be a teacher, I tell them straight away, find a better job. It's not what you think it is anymore.
Well, how
So
many how many people still read books?
yeah, very few, very few.
Awful. What a horrible scenario that is. That it has to be in a video.
Yeah,
Has to be in a video. It
yeah,
has to be in a video of a certain length. It has to be in a video where this is covered and this is covered and this is covered to make people, enthralled. The algorithm, whatever. You know what? I get it. It's some people's living. And when it is people's living, there's the old saying, isn't there? When all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail.
Yeah.
So to a video guy, everything's about video.
Yeah.
To a marketing guy, everything's about marketing.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I'm an information guy. Everything's about the information. Is that?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's not valid anymore. You
No,
know,
you're a
because that doesn't
dinosaur.
get you the clicks, doesn't get you the
Yeah.
followers, does it? You know, I'm
No.
not complaining. I mean, you get the followers that you want, I think, in a lot of ways. And if you want as many as you can get, well, you do whatever you want to get them. But
Yeah.
that's
That's
the
it.
thing. You know, I'm very much each to their own.